Hi, Temple Betham. It's been a little bit of time since I sent a Shabbat video out, but here we go. Short and sweet, hopefully. Well, I hope it's short, and yes, I hope it's sweet. First, a quick communal update. I'm not sure if you're getting this email before or after the other big email that is going out today, where we're finally laying out for you every single service led by different members of the Temple Betham clergy team, when it's happening, how to access it, for the high holidays, for Rosh Hashanah. We don't yet have the Zoom links yet, but it gives you a sense of all of the things that we're going to be doing on the field, on Ziering Field, and all the things we'll be doing on Zoom. And I want to express gratitude in this video to my colleagues, Rabbi Chorny, Rabbi Schatz, and Rabbi Shapiro, for putting themselves out there to try to meet as many of your communal and spiritual needs as possible, and for helping me think through this really complex problem of how to get all of these services happening simultaneously. We thought it was going to be an arithmetic problem. It was really a calculus problem, and I'm relieved that we have solved it. We have a few more details to be worked out for Yom Kippur. Those will be handed out. Those will be sent out next week. But take a look, start getting excited, and start imagining which of the many options you want to participate in during this upcoming high holiday season, which will be unlike, of course, any that we've ever experienced before. Also, tomorrow morning, we have our second in-person on Ziering Field Shabbat morning service, holding it very early so that we can make use of the shade on the eastern side of the field, because it's a very hot season right now. And it's our first outdoor in-person bat mitzvah throughout this entire COVID era. We had one miniature indoor bat mitzvah, you may remember, in June. We celebrated Ella Bieda's bat mitzvah in the sanctuary before the regulations changed. And now we'll be celebrating Jocelyn Bakal as she becomes bat mitzvah tomorrow morning. If you're one of the people who signed up to join us, I look forward to seeing you early in the morning. And if not, we hope you'll join by Zoom and by live stream as we begin to scale out our in-person davening to get a sense of how many we can accommodate per service on Rosh Hashanah. That's the communal update. Here's a little piece of Torah. What happens when you do the right thing, but after a hesitation, after a pregnant pause? What's the impact on the other people in the system when you're right, but you're not quick to be right? I'm imagining any number of situations. A situation where you're walking by someone who's homeless or needy on the street. They ask you for some help. Your heart tightens a little bit. You think to yourself, this is not the best way to help society. If I give them something, they might not use the money I'm giving them for something worthy or honorable. Maybe they brought themselves into the situation by their own misdeeds, and you're about to walk by, and then your heart softens, and you realize that what humanity really requires of you in that moment is to, at the very least, pull out something small, make eye contact with them, let them know that you care, give them food, or give them some money. When you walk away from that moment, you've done the right thing. Halakha says, Jewish law says, as much as possible, you need to give something to pretty much anyone who asks, if you can. But what about the seconds in between when you when you were asked and when you did it? What was that other person experiencing in your delay, in your hesitation? What were you communicating to that person about how you felt about them on your way to making the right decision? Now, on the one hand, deliberating about something is also a Jewish ideal. We're supposed to be people of deep thought. We're supposed to be people of layered processing. And so it's okay not to have the right instinct all the time immediately. And yet, there is spiritual beauty in not just getting to the right deed, but doing the right deed quickly. There's a rabbinic concept of zrizin makdimin l'mitzvah. Those who are really eager rush out to do a mitzvah as soon as they possibly can. One of the more obvious examples of this is when people finish breaking their fast in Yom Kippur and they run outside to put up the first wall of the sukkah, so that they're rushing to do the next major calendar mitzvah in front of them. Sometimes you see people at the kotel washing their hands, doing nitilat yadayim, and then running to the wall to daven. That's the same idea, that they're running to do the next mitzvah. Running to do the next mitzvah is the antidote of hesitating and delaying and wondering, should I or should I not do the right and the good in this moment? I want to import that into a commentary on the opening lines of Parshat Shoftim by a rabbi known as the Chida. He lived in the 18th and 19th centuries, both in Israel and then in Europe. He was sent from the Jewish community in obviously well pre-state Palestine to be an emissary and a teacher of Torah in communities throughout Europe. I think he died actually in Europe and ultimately was reinterred in Israel. His name was Rabbi Chaim Yosef David Azulai, and that's why he's called the Chida. That's an acronym for his name. And he was a Kabbalist and a halachist and a scholar. And he is one of the hundreds of rabbis throughout history who have commented on the three-word phrase in the opening lines of Parshat Shoftim, Tzedek, Tzedek, Tirdof. You've probably heard that phrase if you've seen the parochet, the cover of the Pilch Torah, the Torah that we read most frequently in the sanctuary. It says Tzedek, Tzedek, Tirdof written on it in the beautiful embroidery of our own Rosemary Cohen, meaning righteousness, righteousness you shall pursue. And in a text where we assume there are no extra words and no redundancies, we ask the question, why do you need two tzedeks? Why isn't just tzedek tirdof enough? Pursue righteousness. And what the Chida says is that when you're zrizin for tzedakah, when you're rushing to do righteousness, it accrues to you double the impact on you, the giver, for having done the right thing, and the impact on the receiver of your righteousness. If it was just tzedek tirdof, pursue righteousness, if you get to righteousness at the end, you might walk away from the scenario feeling like you have done the right and the good, and you have. And yes, the person who's the recipient of your righteousness has benefited. But by not rushing to do it, you have deprived the other in the dynamic from feeling from the very first moment that you held them in the highest regard possible, that you held them in a noble way, and that you considered their humanity to be as sacred as yours. So what he says is tzedek, tzedek tirdof. Pursue the type of righteousness that accrues to you double, times two, so that not only is your spirit lifted by your act of goodness and righteousness, but so is the person with whom you have interacted. Throughout the month of Elul, as part of this amazing series of learning opportunities that our Rabbi Schatz has put out, we're going to be sending you a video a day of members of our community responding to a rather simple prompt, a minute long, maybe a minute and a half long video. And this is the first one. So this is my Shabbat video, but also serves as the first of these videos you're going to receive once a day. And the prompt is, what are you returning to this year? What is your tshuva? How are you returning? And I want to speak very personally. I do try to pursue tzedek in my life. I try to do justice. I try to live out justice in my family, in my community, in my society. I'm returning this year, inspired by this verse and by the Chida, to do it more quickly. Yes, to give proper time for thinking through something. I think that is a Jewish ideal, a sacred hesitation on the way to making a decision. But I know that I sometimes hold back. I hold back from doing the very thing that I know is the right thing to do. I might hold back because of discomfort or shame or wondering how the act is going to appear, how it's going to play out there. And so I'm going to try to return in the year 5781 to the tzedek tzedek, to doing the right and the good quickly, to pursuing justice with alacrity, and to considering all the people with whom I interact to have the same level of nobility and humanity as do I. That's my pledge of return for this year. And that's the end of the Dvar Torah, and I say to all of you who do not want to stay for a meditation, Shabbat Shalom, and I miss you and I love you. If you want to stay for a meditation, please do. I ask you to close your eyes. Try to get comfortable in your seat. Try to wed, to merge your intangible spirit with your very tangible and physical body. They can be divorced unintentionally throughout the day. And meditation is an opportunity to have them be brought back together. Try to live in that paradox, as we've discussed in previous meditations, where as your eyes are closed, you can identify exactly where you are in this chair, in this space in your house, in this neighborhood, in this city, in this state, in this country, on this earth, in this solar system. You can pinpoint yourself. You're very located right now. And you are also anywhere and everywhere. As your breath carries your soul through space and time, places you have been to and places you have yet to arrive at. This floating consciousness that connects you with all that is real, all that is alive. And I want you to bring your consciousness not only to justice, but justice, quickly. In whatever way that phrase resonates for you. It can be social justice in our society. It can be individual moments of justice between you and another person who needs your help. It can be the way tzedek plays out in a family. We hesitate to be just sometimes. Allow your mind and spirit to focus you on the rush to be just. Run to do the right and the good. What does it feel like to imagine yourself in your next opportunity, which may come up minutes after this meditation is over, to speed yourself to the right and the good, to expedite justice. With the great power of your mind's eye, you can watch yourself anticipating your next encounter where tzedek is at stake. And you can see two versions of yourself in your mind. The one that stays on the back foot, waits, hesitates, questions, vacillates, wonders. All good stances in many parts of life. Asking good questions, deliberating, pondering. And there's another you in that image. You see that other you on the front foot, rushing forward, motivated by the good, motivated by what you believe you owe God. Running to do just and to bring justice. Both of those aspects of you are within you. Perhaps this may be a Shabbat where the quicker one, at least when it comes to doing the right thing, wins the battle. open your eyes. And bring this urge to your Shabbat, to the life that you're leading now and moving forward. And again, I say Shabbat Shalom, and I miss you, and I love you.